All right, time to knock out the Child's Play series, or as it now become, the Chucky series, because the character became more popular than the title of the film. Happens with a few franchises like Rambo or stuff, you know, even happened with Freddy, with Freddy's Dead and stuff like that. I always wanted a good guy doll, you know, like the sweet little angelic face. I have one of these. I've had one forever, little Afro Chucky. And I love it. I mean, I've had it for freaking ever, but it's not a good guy doll. Like, it's got plush hands and plush feet, and his face is all looking scary. Like, I want a legit good guy doll. And I know they're, like, making one now, but I can only imagine how much those are going to be. I want it in its box and everything. God, I wish they would have made those back in the day, like in the heyday when this was, like, super popular. But, you know, it is what it is. This is a film that I just think is flawless. Like, I go back and I rewatch this and I always think, like, is it, or is it nostalgia, or what is it? And it might be, like, you can't completely turn off nostalgia, I don't think. But I try, you know, for reviews like this, I try to sit back and I'm like, all right, do I actually think this is flawless? Or yeah. And yeah, I mean, I do. The only thing that I wish that could have been different, and as I said, it's flawless, so it doesn't really need to change. I'm just saying, like, in an alternate reality where I could have both films, I would have loved to see the mystery play out longer on if it was either Andy or the doll doing the killing. The whole scene with Aunt Maggie, where you see the, you know, the shape run behind her, and it could have been Andy, it could have been the doll, and then it, you know, never shows what's actually doing it, and it's coming from a low perspective, and they're wearing the same clothes, and like when Andy calls Aunt Maggie stupid bitch who got what she deserves and all that, and then he's in with the psychiatrist and the cops, and he's just, you know, sitting there like, Chucky did it, this and that, you know. I think when he came alive in Ms. Barkley's hands, it would have been even more shocking. You stupid bitch, you fucking, like, I don't know. I just feel like that scene would have been a little more effective. It's still an incredible scene, and I think that the first thing I want to say about this movie, because I think it's the most impressive thing. God, there's a lot of really impressive things, but I have to give the edge for the most impressive thing in this movie to the special effects. Like, Kevin Yeager, who created the doll, I just watched a Tales from the Crypt episode he directed last night, a couple episodes ago. And just watching the animatronics and all that stuff on Chucky, incredible stuff. And then you got little Ed Gale, right? That's the guy who plays Chucky when he's like in full form and running around. They just do such a good job of matching scenes. I am blown away by the practical effects within this film. This is one of those times where you're like, this is why people want practical effects, something like this. It really is truly incredible. Another thing that I think is remarkable in this film is Alex Vincent's portrayal as Andy Barkley. Like, a kid in a movie can make or break your film. Like, if you have an amazing performance by a child and you need that child to be amazing, I'm not talking about background characters. I'm talking about, like, central characters in a film, like a Sixth Sense or something, where, like, the main character or one of the main characters is a child, and they need to give dramatic performances or be scared or be tough or whatever. Oh my God, man, you're putting so much pressure on that kid and on your film, because if they suck, the movie sucks. And this kid is incredible. He's wonderfully adorable. He's so good in his little, you know, tension scenes. And he's excellent in the second one as well. But we'll get to that one. So I want to give a lot of credit to him. And I also want to give a ton of credit to Catherine Hicks here as well as Mrs. Barkley. I think she's freaking fantastic in this. Like, her and Alex Vincent, and then Brad Dourif doing the voice of Chucky, like that little trio right there, their performances are all fantastic, because voice acting is no small feat. I mean, to be menacing and not actually even have, like, get to be on the screen, that's tough, man. Like, CGI, Andy Serkis has to do it all the time, except for he has a little bit more because, you know, they do mocap on him. So this is even harder. Like, they're just doing animatronic doll, and Brad Dourif has to bring that thing to life and make it sound scary. And let's understand that one of the main reasons that Chucky is scary is because of Brad Dourif. Like the way he yells and the way that he talks, he's so intimidating. And it's incredible stuff here. Because this is a guy who, is like up for Oscars and stuff. Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and stuff like this. Like this was like beneath him. But I mean, I'm not saying it was, but it kind of was. And he brought it, man. He brought it. And it's iconic. And even though he has that like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and other stuff that were incredible things, like this is what he's going to get remembered for. From the majority of people who, like, when they go through his stuff and they're like, oh, Brad Dourif, like, that's Chucky. So I'm not sure if this is, like, what he intended when he got into this role. Like, oh, this is the role I'll be remembered for. Kind of like Donald Pleasance playing Sam Loomis in Halloween, or, so on and so forth. There's so many people. I'm curious on if they knew going on, like, oh, this is going to be my definitive role. And I don't think either one of those guys thought that. All right, let's get into the movie itself. The opening, when Chris Sarandon is chasing Brad Dourif or Charles Lee Ray or the Lakeshore Strangler or Chucky eventually, or whatever you want to call him. There's a cop that drives by and he's chasing after Eddie Caputo, and you can hear Chris Sarandon yell out like, "Go after him!" But he drives right past Charles Lee Ray, and I'm sitting there like he could have just like rolled down his window and just shot him. Like he just drove up right next to him. And Brad Dourif or Charles Lee Ray was just like pinned behind this like support beam. And I'm just like, just stop, boom, boom, and then drive off after the other guy. It would have taken a second. Like, that's so silly. I love the title card over the dolls. Like when we first see the good guy dolls and they're all in a row together and it's like Child's Play across the screen. I just love that. And the music and how that cues up. I think it's freaking-tastic. And I can't say enough about Brad Dourif's voice. I mean, I already said it's intimidating and all that, but it's just so recognizable. Like I close my eyes and watch any movie with Brad Dourif, and as soon as he comes on the screen and talks, I'll just be like, Brad Dourif. Like, he has such a recognizable voice, and one that I adore. It's just one of those voices that's like soothing to me, even though he's playing, a scary character, an iconic villain in horror history. I don't know, there's something about his voice that it just feels like home, and he, his goal here is to transfer his soul into a human, but he's in a toy store, and he has only one choice, and it's a damn doll. And I like how he knocks over all the dolls, makes this huge ruckus. Could you describe the ruckus? Name that movie. Come on, everyone knows that. Anyway, he makes this huge, loud crashing noise, and I'm blanking on Chris Sarandon's name right now in this. That's funny. That's why I keep saying Chris Sarandon. I mean, it ain't Prince Humperdinck, I can tell you that. But anyway, he makes this crashing sound, and Chris is just like turns around, and he's just like looking around. He's like, I don't know where that came from. And then freaking, Charles Lee Ray goes into this whole like, Dumbella speech of trying to transfer his soul. This store is so small. How the hell couldn't he found him in that amount of time and stopped him from transferring his soul? Like, the place is not big at all. This whole thing goes down and he can't even find him. It's at the front of the store. It's like right when Brad Dourif walks in, or Charles Lee Ray walks in, there's the dolls right there. Like, he couldn't find him? Really? He was right there. It's pretty damn silly. And then, we get Alex Vincent watching Good Guys. That show seriously was like 2 seconds long. He like comes out and he's like, I've seen this one. And then 2 seconds later, the episode's over. Like, how did he not know? Because he goes into his mom's room and it's 6:30. I'm guessing the show started at 6. If it's a 30-minute show like most shows, I have to think, unless they're like, I don't know. Like, it just was funny to me. He comes out and he's like, I've seen this one. And it's like, you didn't know that until 29 minutes in that you've seen this one? That doesn't make any sense, because we don't really cut away. We just kind of go over to him, popping the toast up, putting the butter on, making the cereal, putting tons of sugar on, and then he looks over. And here's another inaccuracy I feel is they have the commercial on the TV for the good guy doll. And he sees it, and when they're done advertising it, he's like, wow. And then he looks over at the box and he's like, oh my God, it might be them. Like, it might be the damn doll that I just saw. Because his reaction is, I just saw that doll for the very first time. And then he runs over to his mom and he wakes her up, and she's somehow like, blown away by the fact that he's up, even though his favorite show, the outfit that he's wearing, everything in his life is Good Guys. She knows his show's on at 6 a.m. on that day. Okay, I'm overanalyzing, but that's usual. And then she's like, he's talking to her, and he's like, can we open our presents? And he goes out there and he opens it up, and it's not a good guy, and it's lame clothes. Come on, don't get kids clothes and wrap them on their birthdays. It's such a lame gift. Like, it's a great gift, don't get me wrong, but like, get that them, like when they're in the store, or give it to them when they're not opening presents. Clothes are lame, come on. But he opens them up and he's like, I want a good guy doll. And she's like, I know, but I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time to save up the money for it. And it's like, what do you mean you knew? He literally just found out about it a second ago. Like, you could argue that she saw it on TV and was like, I know he'll want this. Eventually he's going to see it. And then when he asks me for it, she's like, I know. Like, you finally saw it. Shit. Like, I was hoping you wouldn't have seen it, but you did. But I don't know. That scene's always weird to me. And he's like, he's so like, oh my God. And then he runs over and she's like, I know. It's like, no, you don't. So, oh my God, my kid made me that breakfast in bed, as adorable as it is, but spilling all the milk all over the carpet and everything. Oh, they'd get it. And Jesus. I like how when she buys the box from the street peddler, like with Chucky in it, the box is like almost pristine. There's like a little rip, like right down the front, like just teeny. That's it. That's really almost all the damage there is. That place blew up, okay? Now, Chucky could have crawled into, that's like my explanation, is that Chucky went over and he crawled into a proper box. Like he found one that wasn't mangled, so he could crawl into it and then hopefully be taken away. But I just feel like he would have just ran off, right? Like, so if he was already up and kind of with it and alive at that point, I just feel like he would have just like took off. But he's in a box, and he wasn't in a box. So somehow he had to get into a box, because Brad Dourif or freaking Lakeshore Strangler, pulls him out of the box. So he's not in the box. So somehow he made that decision to jump into a box. So I guess that would explain why the box isn't that damaged. He probably found the least damaged one. I don't know what his plan was there. But yeah, so I don't know. Was noticing that. And, Griswold. Give him a kick in the pants for me. Little pussy. I mean, I think we can all relate to the fact that, like, if our kid came to us and said, like, my doll's talking to me. I mean, my kids say that shit all the time. I'm not going to take it seriously. So how long would it be before, and I've said this in many reviews, but how long would it be before I believed that Chucky was actually responsible for shit, that he was actually talking to my kid, that was actually taking place? Like, the answer is never. I mean, pretty much never, except for the scene where you stupid bitch, like that, I'd be like, okay, I believe you. Like, but even then, I'd be like, okay, something, like somebody's doing this somewhere. They're trying to prank me. This is like a Punk'd. I don't think that show's on anymore. I'm showing my age. I don't know what the new show is now. They probably got a thing. They got a remake of it, and every kid thinks it's brand new. And poor Maggie, poor freaking Aunt Maggie. That chick, she can't get a date. She comes over because she's got nothing better to do, and she gets freaking murdered. Oh man, poor girl. Oh man, like when Miss Barkley comes home and she sees the ambulances, her frantic like behavior and her like running around terrified. Oh my God, like I totally understand. She's just running up and down, like gets up in there. Where is he? And she's just looking, and then as soon as she finds her kid, she's like, oh yeah, and where's my friend? Like, I get that, I feel it, and I think her, portrayal there is fantastic. I think she's excellent throughout this whole film, and I really wish she could have returned for the second movie. I don't know why she didn't. I'd never looked that up. I like how Chris Sarandon, God, I gotta fucking think of his name. That's crazy. I can't. I've seen this movie too many times. I have no excuse. But I like how he's like, you know, I already checked all his shoes. Don't worry. Like, it's none of his shoes. And it's like, you didn't check his feet? Huh? Like when he's like, "What? Hey Andy, what are you wearing there on your feet?" And he's like, "They're good guy PJ sneakers." And it's like, you didn't look on his feet first? That wasn't your first place you checked? I'm gonna go in his closet and I'm gonna look at all his shoes. Like he went and fucking took his shoes off, put them away, and then went and got back. Like, he didn't check his feet? This is stupid. Come on now. And then Ms. Barkley like kicks him out because he's basically insinuating her kid probably did it. And she kicks him out and she's super upset. And the detective and his buddy are joking around about this. And then the guy gets the murder weapon. He's like, "Come on, you're kidding." And they're all having a laugh. And it's like, this chick just came home to her best friend murdered, and you're thinking her son is possibly the killer, and you're outside her door joking around and calling her kind of crazy. How the fuck do you think she should be right now? She just found out that her friend's dead and her kid could possibly be a murderer, and she's in full-blown denial about it? Yeah, she's gonna be totally irrational. Dickheads. Anyway, that line though, when he's just like, "Chucky told me that she's a real bitch and she got what she deserves." Oh my God, like her reaction to that is nowhere near as intense as it should have been. Though I'll take that little piece of it and be like, I think that's the director's fault, not her. But I would be like my friend just died and you said that, and this is a 6-year-old. I wouldn't hit my kids, but Jesus Christ, I'm like, I would be stunned. I wouldn't even know what to do. My kid would have no clue what the hell. No way. There's no way. I would be like, okay, the doll's alive. Okay, this is the only explanation here. The doll is alive. If my kids are saying that, this doll has gotta be alive. They would never, ever, ever say something like that. And they're not far off of his age in this movie. Which, yeah, I mean, thinking about that, that's crazy. They're only like 7-8 months younger than Alex Vincent in this movie. That's crazy. That makes it even more incredible that his performance is so damn good. I couldn't get my kids to act like this in a movie. Holy shit. They wouldn't listen to a damn word I said. And yeah, I mean, right when we see his hand come up and turn the oven on in Eddie Caputo's hideout, like that's when you know like 100% it's Chucky. So I wish they wouldn't have shown that, because I think that would have still kept some mystery. Like, even though, yes, we saw the little seance or whatever that puts him in and all that stuff. Like, I just think like him coming alive in her arms would have still shocked a few people. Not everybody, but it was still. So I think they could have done that and maybe had Andy like go in the house and look for him for a second and then come out, and then it could have blown up. It just could have played out the mystery just a little bit longer, but you know, whatever. And I like how when Chucky is in bed with freaking Andy, she stops to listen, and he looks over at the feet at the door because he knows she's listening, and instead of like actually talking to Andy, he uses his other Chucky voice, like he's a little deceptive son of a bitch. Wanna play? That scene where he turns his head around. "Hi, I'm Chucky, wanna play?" And he like falls and he rolls under the couch. That shit's so creepy. Like when she finds the batteries and all that. Woo, baby. Then she goes and she tries to ask the street peddler and all these bums, and the street peddler then decides that he's going to rape her, and all the bums are not doing a damn thing about it. And then, Chris Sarandon comes up and breaks it up, and then he asks him a question, and he's like stunned by his answer, so he throws him and he's just like, "Get out of here." And then she just goes right back to like, "What did he tell you? What is it? And oh my God, what the hell? That guy just tried to rape you. Like, this is a much bigger deal than you just made that." I mean, I get it. Like, she's got other things on her mind. Her son's in trouble. But, like, the cop just let that happen? Like, I don't know. Like, really? Come on now. Getting raped is a pretty big deal. I think they take this a little too lightly. I like when he's trying to get her out of the car, so he comes around, and instead of locking the door, she decides to just roll up the window. And then he just opens the door, and she's like, come on, why won't you believe me, or whatever. And it's like, that would have probably been your first idea. So that's so stupid, but I can't help but notice little stupid things like this. It's always so funny to me. And when Chucky's in the back seat and he's attacking the detective, he could have stopped that car so many fucking times. It's stupid. But yeah, he presses on and he knocks the brake pedal off the brake. Come on, really? Jesus, this is like a government issued police vehicle. They need new maintenance people there because the brake pedal should not just fall off when it's stepped on hard. These are cop cars that are supposed to be in like, you know, high speed pursuits. And they're like, they go to like driving school to learn how to like take corners and, you know, drive super fast and hit the brakes, and you just hit the brakes and the brake pedal falls right off. Come on now. That's pretty dumb. When Chucky goes and he confronts his, you know, little mentor guy, little voodoo guy, the guy tells him like, you're becoming human. And once you're human, like you can't transfer your soul. And it's like, but I was human. And then he's like, you know, you have to do it to reveal the first person you revealed your true self to and all this. It's like, I get it. It's all super ridiculous anyways. But that just seems a little convenient. Like, we just need to get him back to Andy. But just the fact that he can't transfer his body again, it only works once. Like, and it only works, like, what if he would have transferred to another human? Would he immediately have no power to then ever change it again? Do you only get one? Because once the doll becomes human, he can't get out of that doll. But if he was just to go into a human and already be human, is it only one transferable? That's it? Like he asked for it. But once he's in the doll, then he can transfer into a human as long as he hasn't become fully human yet? Like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's so convoluted. It's so silly. Sounds like I'm saying a lot of negatives, but I'm not saying none of these are negatives. These are just me playfully picking apart silly little things. But they're all really fun scenes. The voodoo doll when he's breaking the guys. I mean, that scene is filled with all sorts of cool shit. I just like pointing out fun things that other people may not have noticed. One line that you definitely can't quote from this movie randomly out in public is, I have a date with a 6-year-old boy. Don't say that. I'm not saying I have, but I do love that line. But that's one of those lines that's like, yeah, I can't say that. I can't say that anywhere. Because I don't think people would be like, oh, child's play. I think they'd be like, he's playing with children. So they child's play, all right. And oh man, when he comes after Andy in that hospital and he like comes up and that is terrifying. That kid would never be right in the head again. Like, he's sitting there, he sees his doll like all the way down there and he's crawling up the stairs and he comes in his window and he goes and he shocks his doctor to death and like slices his Achilles tendon and everything. This kid would be destroyed. And then he runs all the way home and he locks himself in and he gets whacked in the head with a baseball bat and blacks out. You're talking concussion on a 6-year-old boy. Probably would have killed him. Oh, I love the scene when he's in the, one I quote all the time is when he's in the elevator and the old woman's like, ugly doll, and he starts going up and he's like, fuck you. I love that line. It's so good. He's carrying around what looks to be like a good guy doll knife. Why would a good guy doll set come with a knife? I've never understood that. It looks like a good guy. Did he take stickers and decorate a knife to look like a good guy doll knife? Or did that tool set that he got earlier in the movie come with like a hammer and an actual like knife, like a full-on like Boeing knife, like something you like Rambo would carry or something? It's fucking crazy. I have it here in this picture. This tattoo, you could kind of see it right there, sort of. That's the knife that he has on the old cover. But yeah, I've never understood that knife. There's no way that knife came with a toy set. Oh my God, man. My favorite line in this whole movie is, you know, like, but Andy, I thought we were friends to the end. This is the end, friend. I used to say that to my coworker all the time. It was like our thing. I just adore that line. Burnt Chucky when he's walking through the house. I love that. It's such a great practical effect. And I like when Chucky gets his head taken off and then his body starts to attack, and it doesn't make any sense. Why is he calling out directions to his body? Like, his body should still be controlled by him, right? So when he's like, kill them all, get them, kill them. Why? Isn't it him doing it? Once his head was severed, did the body then become its own entity? Did it then have ears for him to hear Chucky so that he could do what he's telling? Like, I would think he would know what his, goal is, his directive is. Like, I don't think he needs to be told. That scene just doesn't make any sense to me. And as I said, it's minor little stupid things like this. I know I'm just the king of nitpicks, but it's fucking stupid. Why would he be calling out instructions to a headless body that he's probably controlling? And I also love that the cop, the guy who's in there, and he's like, do you believe me now? And he's like, yeah, but who the hell's gonna believe me? It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You could have 50 people in the room. No one would believe those 50 people. You could fucking air it on live TV and people would be like, that was fake. Like, doesn't matter what you did. No one's going to believe this story ever. It's going to be that story that's in the National Enquirer or the Sun or the Star, whatever. And people are going to be like, oh yeah, you believe that shit? You're Looney Tunes. I mean, I do it all the time. People tell me about crazy shit here. They're into like Bigfoot and all this stuff. And I'm like, uh-huh. And it could have actually happened. I mean, probably not, but it could have, like in this. And then you just be that person that's like, yeah, right. So I totally get it. But I mean, he's in there and he's like, do you believe me? It's like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're both fucked at this point. And then we kind of have like a Friday the 13th part 4 ending here, where that close up on, Tommy Jarvis, where he's got that look in his eye, and kind of similar thing where it like just freeze frames on Andy, and you can just see, like, I don't know. For me, it's just like my life's over. Like, that's the look I get. Like, I'm gonna constantly be looking over my shoulder. Like, for the rest of my life, you just ruined any chance of me having a future. So, anyways, I think I got them all. If not, I don't know. But anyway, so this is the end. Friend.